A survey from Microsoft went out recently. Occasionally that'll happen. You get a little survey pop up, and I don't know if that's just because if you're part of like the early, what do they call it at Microsoft's? I don't think they call it early access program, but similar concept for like console update releases and things of that nature. Anyway, I don't know if it was for that or just generally they just canvass people on emails or something. But a survey went out that was asking players if they wanted a PlayStation 5 DualSense-like features for the Xbox controller. I'm going to say the answer would probably be yes. I don't know why anyone wouldn't want to go down that road. That's probably, of all the features the PS5 has right now, the one that I see people talk about the most is the DualSense, force feedback, triggers, and all that kind of stuff that comes with it.
Yeah.
Especially when it's implemented well, people seem to be really excited about it. So, I'm going to say that the odds are people are very much, and yeah, exactly. That was my rhyming noodles. Why even ask that question? That was my thought. Like, why would you mean? Yes,
just do it.
I don't even know. And to be honest, I don't know if you have a choice, Microsoft. I mean, like that's a you have to meet your competitor at parity with a fucking controller. And if developers are investing time into making that work, and it's going to be the same game exists on the two consoles, but the experience is better because of those features on that controller. Yeah, you might wanna do that. But I personally, I've never been able to experience it yet because I don't have the console. Mr. Black doesn't have it either. But like I said, on my timeline anyway, the one thing I see the most of when people talk about PS5 is that feature. Next to the loading times, I guess. That's obviously another common one, but that's not a huge differentiating factor. So we'll see. I suspect that's just a matter of time. It's a bit awkward that Microsoft, they'll have to either update what controllers come with the console, or they're going to have to just spin out another controller that is sold separately and marketed as being more feature-rich. But then the problem is that PlayStation is packaging that shit with their console.
I would imagine that this is going to probably come with the next iteration of the next Xbox.
Does it? Yeah, so it releases with the Series X Pro.
Yeah, I think that's when they roll this out. It just wouldn't make any sense for them to just do it midway.
Yeah,
like just come out with a new controller now, because then people, unless they pulled like a crazy play and said, hey, if you guys have purchased these controllers, then you can trade in your old controller and get a better one.
Fuck.
Which would just be like, what the fuck?
Retailers
that's just so much lost money. Yeah,
salty. Well, retailers wouldn't be able to do it. Like they'd have to basically mail that in. Yeah, that would be fuck. Or, another route that they could take. There's not really a problem with this now, is that now that it's out there, it's kind of hard for them to do it without pissing off at least some people, right? There's like no real way to do it without, annoying some people.
Oh, trust me, they already have this in production.
Yeah.
They're just putting that out there to create buzz, to have people say, yes, we do want it. And then they're like, well, we've listened to you. So,
they could also go the route of, they have the Xbox Elite line of controllers, right? They have 2 versions of that already. Maybe they dump that into the Elite version 3, and then after that, roll it down like it's a sport, the high-end sport car that rolls down into the fucking lower model of cars that get the standard features. Starts to get like backwards, reiterated or sent into, retroactively added into the standard model. Either way, it's coming. Just a matter of time, and in what package form they decide to put it out there in. But yeah, I would be interested in it. I would rather that personally. I have the version 1 Elite controller right here. This is still, in my opinion, the greatest controller ever fucking made. Like,
Ooh,
Like
the
this Elite
controller ever made.
This is it. You know, even
they are nice. They are nice.
The
nice.
material quality of this controller blows the fuck out of everything under the water. It's not even close. The button feel better than anything else. The stick feel better than anything else. And you can just swap that shit fucking easy, easy peasy. And then you've got the added paddles in the back for 4 more buttons. And then on top of that, you also have like profile switches and shit. It's just nuts. It feels so good. The D-pad feels so good. It's like metal and shit. Like everything feels like fucking like it feels like you could use this as a weapon.
You could.
If you wanted to. Like you could bludgeon somebody to death if you wanted to.
If you wanted to. Don't do that, but you
don't do it, but you could. You could have handed this to some of the guards that were supposed to be doing something at the Capitol building yesterday, and they could have used this to defend the building instead of taking selfies with people. But they weren't equipped, Jeff, with the Xbox Pro
Elite.
Mm.
You know, those controllers are like going up in value too. Like if those are going to be like those controllers are going to be very similar to the old school GameCube controllers. The old school GameCube controllers, the resale value on those are insane. Like a controller for GameCube is worth almost as much as the actual console. So like,
well, that's because a lot of people are just looking for one where it's not beaten up, right? Like,
yeah, well, and and you use them for. They have a lot of reusability because people like using them for games, fighting games. You know, Smash Bros.
They have the adapters for like Wii and Wii U and like I think even Switch.
And with those, you can plug them into like the Wii, the Wii U, and use those for your everyday stuff, right? So like, people absolutely love the game. I love the GameCube controller. I love the GameCube controller.
I like it. It's too small for my hands. And it was you know, the GameCube controller was similar to the N64 controller. It was like Nintendo wanted to be different, but they kind of conformed. You know, with the GameCube controller, they're like, all right, it's gonna like sort of have the PlayStation controller shape-ish, but we're still gonna fuck you up with like big ass A buttons or B buttons, like fucking like C sticks and shit in weird random places and everything. But it felt good, and people, you know, swear by that controller. But this is overall, this Elite, the first edition Elite is, I think, just the greatest fucking like piece of engineering I've ever personally used. So I suspect if there was a version 3, if I had to guess, I would say that functionality makes it into the Elite first and then works its way back into when they can bundle it with a new version of the console or like a new whatever when they announce that they're putting it into the standard models. I don't know, but that would be what I would imagine.